Why, Carlos? Why? Why? Ay, Carlos.
Poor Carlos, sending himself
¿Por qué,
to an
Carlos?
early
¿Por qué?
grave.
Ugh.
This is Paddock 43, the podcast, your weekly rundown giving you all things F1 from both on and off the track.
From races, trades, rumours, the lifestyle, and all the things that come with the F1 world.
We are Amy, Elle, and Pat. Let's get into it.
We're back.
We are back. Paddock 43 is back. And we are actually recording at a normal time this time.
Yeah, it's actually sunny, which is nice.
Life
it's not
wasn't
super
too
late.
hectic.
No.
Yes, it's not dark.
No.
Which
Although
is very
some things might come out over the next few days, which will be a shame that we're not recording. But it's Tuesday, so we have luckily that we started recording today and not our usual Monday night, because if not, we would have missed the Carlos news.
Oh, we would have missed the Carlos
we
news,
had-
and that would have been a bit sad.
It would have been, well, sadder than the news.
Yeah, you're not happy with the news, are you?
No,
No.
I'm not. But for those that missed it, which if you have, I don't know how, Carlos.
It's everywhere.
Confirmed. It's everywhere. Confirmed for Williams.
I
Pause for
mean,
dramatic sigh.
Yeah, let's just a minute of silence.
Yeah. I'm just annoyed because it's like, literally, I was looking at the scores the other day and I'm like, they literally have 4 points at the moment.
Yeah, 4 points and ninth. And
ninth.
they have signed possibly, I would say he's coming into the peak of his career.
Mm.
And then for him to go down to Williams, it is a shame.
Oh, it's such a shame.
Which kind
I guess
of sucks.
it really just proves that like money talks, because I want to know how much they're paying him.
Yeah, because
Doesn't
originally
accept
they
that.
were saying, because originally when I saw some rumors coming out that Carlos only wanted to sign if he got a 1-year deal, which had a clause where, like not a performance clause, a clause where he could go to a better team if the seat became available. But then James Vowles came out and obviously said no. So yeah, I wonder what they are paying him.
Yeah, I was so convinced that he was going to Mercedes. Oh, which is
And
such a shame.
It sucks to think as well that offer wasn't there for him.
Yeah, I mean, my mum was asking me. She's like, "What? Like, why is he doing this?" I'm like, I don't know. And I'm like, how did Mercedes even offer him? Did Mercedes even give him an offer? Or I'm just bummed that like they didn't offer him enough, which is such a waste. Or that I don't want to call him a sellout, but I'm like, are you a bit of a sellout because you've gone to a team that's offered you more money? We don't know. I'm not calling you a sellout, Carlos.
You're like, I'm not. I swear to God.
Just putting the potentials out there.
Because it also doesn't make sense, because like you look at the Mercedes situation and you think that if Carlos just wanted a 1-year contract, but then he would want to stay. So actually, never mind. Because I was thinking that if he wanted a 1-year contract, he could have gone to Mercedes, had a 1-year contract. Then in the following year, Kimi steps into that Mercedes seat, and then Carlos could possibly go to Red Bull.
Yeah.
But instead, he's gone to Williams. Yeah, to take Checo's seat. And
I mean, unless that still happens, but it's just going to be a shit year next year.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see what Williams are doing, because
I
feel like Alex and Carlos are a good pairing.
I think so too.
I feel like they're quite strong.
Yeah, I think they're a good pairing as well. And look, maybe, I mean, who knows what they're going to do with the car next year, and whether who knows what they've promised him. I mean, obviously as well, I mean, I'm calling him a sellout potentially, but who knows what Williams have promised him as well to like get that across the line.
Yeah.
Because I'm surprised that he would want to sign with someone that's like a team that's doing so poorly.
I feel like as well, F1 is just so full of empty promises.
It is.
I think that's just like all sports. You know what? I just think that is just life in general.
Yeah, it's just life
Any
in
sort
general.
of work contracts, they like to sell you the dream, and then
so true.
It's usually not the case.
So true.
Yeah.
So true.
I mean, hopefully we see Adrian Newey at Williams. Hopefully that was the driving force of getting Carlos to put pen to paper.
Hopefully.
I
In
don't
this
know.
instance, then yes, I accept it. Because I do want
Yeah.
Carlos to do well next year.
He deserves to do well. He has been done dirty
does.
by every single team he has been with.
He has. Which is so mind-blowing because he's such a talented driver.
Exactly. Exactly.
But
And
then that
hopefully as
leaves
well.
I was going to say, so that leaves the question of what's going to happen at Mercedes now.
I just think Kimmy's going to be going to the seat.
Now I feel I'm just a bit frustrated because now I feel like, especially what we spoke about last week, how he's saying he's not ready, and going off how well the Mercedes car has been doing in the last few races, it's wasted when it could be Carlos.
Yeah, but then now you sort of look at the options of who could go there.
Mm-hmm.
There's really not that many.
No.
I mean, current drivers, Daniel, Joe, Bottas, Logan.
And I don't think they'd put Bottas again in that seat.
Yeah, so there's him gone. And then I don't really feel like any other driver is suited to.
Yeah, it does kind of sound like they're going to put a rookie in there, and have George as their number one driver and sort of as a mentor.
Yeah, I mean, Liam Lawson. Imagine.
Potential.
Red Bull just put him on loan to Mercedes.
Yeah.
I can't really see
Well, I
that
guess
happening,
the other news as well was Esteban Ocon officially signed to Haas.
Yes.
So Ollie and Esteban together.
And then I saw so many comments about people, saying pray for Ollie. But I think Ocon will give.
I think so.
I don't know. Will help Ollie grow within the team and lead the way.
There's there's much less of there'll be much less of a rivalry than what Ocon and Gasly have because they've grown up racing together, and there's obviously, we've said this before, there's obviously some tension between them. Both French, both grew up together. I think there's a bit of like that.
Bit of beef.
Yeah, a bit of beef. Whilst Ollie's a lot younger, he's, we interviewed Ocon over Melbourne GP and he was so lovely. Obviously, he's going to put his best face forward, but he was so lovely. So I'd like to think that he's going to, feel like he can pave a way and give Ollie as much advice as possible and be that leader that he should be. But
kind of take Ollie under his wing.
Yeah.
I think.
But I guess that also leaves the other seat at Alpine. Potential Jack Doohan?
Yes, I reckon Jack Doohan.
Me too.
I feel like he's going to be the best option. I don't think they will want to go for another senior driver. They probably want to have someone fresh as well.
Yep, I think so too.
So it'll be quite nice if we have having this sounds so bad. I was like fresh meat. Fresh meat on the grid. Fresh meat on the grid. Well, compared to obviously last year and this year, not changing. Yeah,
literally. I'm so excited to see so many changes. I think it'll be good and it'll kind of shake things up a bit. And I think, a lot of images have come up of Jack Doohan chatting to different people and the potential of rumbling. So we'll see.
It's very unpredictable at the moment, which is quite fun.
Yeah, I know. I love it. I hope more comes out whilst we're on the summer break because we were saying this episode is very jam-packed because there's so much that's happened in the last week. We're going to need some of this meat whilst they're on holidays because we won't be on holidays.
No, I'm not on holidays. I cannot afford to go on holidays.
Yeah, no, we won't be on holidays.
Unfortunately, I will be scouring F1 sites.
Yes.
That's what I will
And finally, I think before we wrap up news, Sergio to continue at Red Bull.
Finally. Now, I swear to God, if on the other side of summer break, if they come out and say, no, you've got 5 races in, and the narrative of replacing Sergio comes out again, I might actually punch a hole in the wall.
I'm just going to ignore it because it's the same shit as last season.
Exactly. But then as well, I guess last season he was, second in the drivers' championship, and there wasn't really a reason to think that he would lose his seat. Whereas obviously this season he's not performing as well, so there was more of a reason to speculate that he could be replaced. But they weren't going to do it. They just re-signed him. Why on earth would they then switch it up and say, actually, no, we're going to replace you with who? With who?
With who? Not Daniel Ricciardo. But shall we
get into the crazy race?
Spa-Francorchamps.
It is such a good track. But I thought was interesting about Spa is obviously we always talk about the weather and how the weather can throw such a spanner in the works. I think it semi-did with, how we had a wet qualifying session into a dry race. And I was listening to how they were saying that it obviously gets everyone when it comes to Parc Fermé. Because if you want to focus on a wet race, you obviously consider the downforce more, but then if it's dry, you consider the straight line speed. So then they kind of had to find a nice middle ground for both of them.
Yeah.
Which I found interesting. It's like, well, that would not be fun. To be an engineer, absolutely not.
No, absolutely not. No, it definitely does provide a bit more entertainment. That's for sure. But yeah, let's kick it off with Alpine, as we were talking about Esti Bestie.
Esti Bestie, pudding and pie.
Did pretty well in quali.
Yeah, making it into Q3. I was not expecting that.
No.
Surprise, surprise. Who would have thought? I thought he did very well in qualifying.
Yeah.
Who would have thought we'd see him there?
Who would have thought?
But yeah, qualified 10th, but started 9th due to someone's new engine. As we all know about.
Yeah.
But then in the race, finished 9th.
Finished 10th, then finished 9th, which we will get into. So great to see that he's secured some points for the team. Moving on to Pierre Gasly, qualified P12, just missed out on Q3. So at least he made it into Q2, unlike the last couple of races.
Yes.
And then finished 13th and ended up finishing 12th.
Yeah, just kind of stayed in the midfield, battled within the midfield. And
yeah. Everyone kind of got bumped forward from their qualifying position because of Max Verstappen's penalty, and then everyone also got bumped forward because of the little drama at the end of the race.
Georgie Porgy pudding and pie.
Yes. Moving on to Aston Martin, our good friend Fernando Alonso qualified P9, started 8th, and yeah, pretty good, reaching Q3. We love to see it. Finished 9th, then actually finished 8th. Pretty good, had a steady race pace. And yeah, nice to see some points for Aston Martin. I feel like Aston Martin's just like not really there this year, but
yeah,
that's okay.
I feel like this race they were at least consistent.
Yeah,
especially Lance Stroll.
Yeah,
but Lance Stroll qualified P15, but also crashed in FP3.
I swear he keeps
if
crashing.
Everyone remembers that. He's the new Nikita Mazepin. But it was quite a big crash, so it was a red flag. What was it? What corner was that? Was that Eau Rouge?
I think.
But it was good they actually called the red flag, considering it was wet, extremely wet out there, because the last thing we want is, especially at this track.
Especially at this track. I know that over the weekend they interviewed Juan Manuel Correa, who was in the crash in 2019 with Antoine at Spa, that actually Antoine lost his life. I didn't realize that Correa, he was, pretty lucky to be alive, had some really crazy surgeries. I think at one point they sort of gave him the choice of either amputating his leg or going into like some major recovery, and basically was in some crazy recovery for a year. And then I think they were saying that 5 years to the day of his crash, he won a race in F2 on the exact same date, which
Wow.
is, yeah,
The
which is
universe
like very,
does weird things.
it does do weird things.
Mm.
Yeah, so F2 driver. So yeah, we know it can be a very dangerous track. So I think it was a good call that they pulled out the red flag and yeah, stopped the session.
Did we finish on Lance Stroll?
I don't think so.
No,
Shall we?
to get
Yeah.
totally sidetracked. So he finished 11th. Yes, so just outside the points.
Yeah.
Ferrari, Charles Leclerc.
Ferrari. Good friends at Ferrari.
Yes.
I was so excited. I was so excited because he got pole position. But no race. I actually have some a little interesting fact for you as we talk about Charles being on pole. This is the 6th Grand Prix in a row where the pole sitter doesn't win.
Yeah.
So maybe it's
very
time
interesting.
It's time for him not to get on pole.
Right? There is always such an emphasis on pole position because it's supposed to give you an advantage for the win. But now with the cars, like this generation of cars, it's almost, it's like redundant.
Yeah,
it doesn't even matter because
literally
look at where George won from.
Yeah.
Or where Max previously won from. You know, the cars are just so powerful and fast. The pole position doesn't really give you that much of an advantage.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. But yeah, that was a shame because he technically didn't finish in pole position, but he got the pole position due to Max's penalty. Very strong performance in that quali. And yeah, his pace nearly matched Verstappen's, which was phenomenal to see.
Yeah. And the race finished
third.
Yeah, he had a really good start to the race.
And
I feel like Sergio and Lewis were kind of fighting each other which kind of let it flow a lot easier for Charles, which was good. But then, just the amount of we had 5 different race leaders during this race, which is crazy to think about. You know, Charles, Lewis, Carlos, Piastri, and then George. I think Charles led it twice.
Yeah.
From memory. That was really fun to watch. Really fun to
it was
see.
definitely a very exciting race. That's for sure.
Yeah, I was a little bit sad when Charles lost the lead because I was rooting for Ferrari this weekend.
Me too.
I really wanted
shock.
I really wanted to see them crawl out of the hole that they've dug themselves the last few races, but they didn't.
I know. I feel like we're seeing a repeat of last year.
Oh my god, I know.
Well, they were doing so well at the beginning of the year, and then they kind of started going downhill. And then McLaren was not doing too well, and then they started going uphill, and then they got ahead in the constructors, which is a shame.
And then just with summer break now, with a nice 4-week reset, I can't wait to see what the teams come back with. It'll be really good.
It will be good.
Yeah.
But yes, our good friend Carlos. Man of the hour. Well, yeah. Debatable.
Hour.
No, he is the man of the hour. Yes, he qualified
no.
P8. No. Qualified P8, started 7th, finished 6th.
Yep. But I think he lacked a lot of top-end pace.
I think
which
so
was
too.
a shame because we have seen him with so much pace. He did have some good overtakes and a good pit stop. But really that's about it.
Yeah.
Overtook Perez late in the race, which was a good one.
Yeah.
I sort of feel like
a Red Bull.
Yeah, it's always so nice. Oh my god, Piastri's overtake on Max.
Yes.
That was a good one.
So
I
good.
loved that one.
Into
Haas.
Nico
Haas be
Hülkenberg.
Haasing.
Yeah. Yeah, back to regular programming at Haas.
Yeah, they've had a
Oh,
few weeks of a steam train.
yes, not much going on there. Hülkenberg qualified 16th, started 15th, finished 18th. Magnussen P17th, finished 14th. Really not much going on there. Shame.
Yeah, they just struggled for pace in qualifying, in the race. I always hate saying like battled in the lower midfield because I guess at the end of the day they are battling for the places, but it's just not exciting.
You're not getting anything out of it.
Yeah, not getting much out of it.
Yep. And into McLaren. Lando, you qualified P5, started 4th, and then unfortunately finished 5th. It's no good.
Yeah, I thought that he was going to end up a lot higher than what he did. I think he had a few like tyre management issues.
Yeah.
I think there may have been a slow pit stop in there as well. Not too slow.
Mm-hmm.
But not fast enough. And then I think also Max got the undercut on Lando at one point.
Yep.
So that kind of ruined Lando's race. But
and then our good friend Oscar, I'm very proud of him because I feel like after last week's, I don't want to say blunder because he won, but after last week's, to all the people that were saying that he didn't deserve the win, I felt like he kind of had to prove himself this week. Qualified P6, started 5th, and ended up getting 2nd, which was amazing.
Yeah. I honestly think that if he didn't have that slight incident where he entered the pit stop too fast and almost took out the carjack guy.
Oh my God, I know. Terrifying.
And if there was another lap, I think that he possibly could have won the race because I think the pace that he had on both the Mercedes was a lot faster. So I feel like he could have won it. And then I sit here and I think about how I feel like how good Oscar is and where we can kind of see him going.
Yep.
I think Lando's a bit scared.
I think so too, which also kind of puts into, what we were speaking about last week, how he sort of gets his back up a little bit towards Oscar because he's sort of come in, he's younger than him, he's had much less experience and he's already winning.
Yeah, and it took Lando how many years?
Too many.
I can't remember. I was on TikTok today and I saw an old video when Oscar was on the podium, but it was like in the cool down room. But they're in the cool down room and he like gets his chair and then positions it towards the other two and sits down. I was like, oh, you're so cute.
Oscar, bless. I like that.
He's just sweet.
Wants to look at his people when he talks to them.
Right. It's like, I need to see
Good
you.
Man.
I need to look at you. But
bless.
Yeah, I was very impressed with Oscar. And he has gotten so much better on his tires as well.
Oh my gosh, so much better. Much better.
Terrible.
Yep.
Terrible, but his tire management's getting a lot better.
Yep.
And future world champion 2025.
Woo! Yeah, let's see more wins from Oscar this year.
I reckon he'll have at least 2 more.
I think so. Yeah, definitely one more. Definitely one more. But into the boys of the hour, Mercedes. Yes. Well,
I was surprised.
Yes. I think for those that missed it, basically George Russell won the race. It was very exciting, which we will get into. But then he was disqualified. Should we start with George?
Yeah, start with George? Okay, let's start with George.
Yeah.
So
or maybe let's start with George.
Start with George?
Nah, let's start
with
Lewis.
Let's start with Lewis.
Yeah. Start with Lewis, yeah. Start with Lewis.
Lewis. Qualified P4, started P3. Struggled with a lot of grip in qualifying, but was a solid run in Q3. I mean, I feel like they were complaining about a lot of issues over the radio. and they thought they didn't have pace, but I'm like,
Yeah,
no,
I
dude,
thought they didn't have
you-
pace.
Yeah, I thought they didn't really have pace, but now I look back at the notes. I'm like, well, he did start. He did qualify P4. It's not that bad.
Yeah, not that bad.
It's not like he didn't get out in Q1.
I guess, yeah, he's comparing himself to his other performances over the last few weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, and then in the race, he finished second, right behind George Russell. But then, yeah, had a really good, late race performance and just did well.
Just did well.
God, it's like he just did well. He just did fantastic.
Did well.
And then
our friend Georgie Boy. Yeah, so Georgie Boy qualified P7th, started 6th, had some difficulties, but was pretty good. Then in the race, originally finished 1st, which everyone was saying was pretty impressive because he did have the one-stop tyre strategy, which was impressive. Very strong performance. I was thinking, yep, driver of the day, 100% George Russell climbing from 6th to 1st, having the one-stop strategy. I think as well Lewis Hamilton, before the disqualification, he was a bit frustrated because he didn't get to have the one-stop strategy. He was on the radio telling the team that his tyres were good, that he didn't have to come in, but they brought him in, I think, to kind of keep Leclerc at bay. And then, so I don't know when you watch the race, Ames, but I was half asleep, missed the start of the race, watched the end of the race, and was like, okay, cool, breastfeeding, watching. And I was like, awesome. Like, how good is this finish? Because, I mean, we've got to also mention that it was a very close finish. Like, we haven't seen a close finish like that in a long time, where there's literally, previously we'd just see one car and then you kind of have this massive
20
gap.
seconds later.
Yeah, 20 seconds later behind Max Verstappen. It was literally like neck on neck, George Russell, Lewis Hamilton, and Oscar Piastri.
And then almost like 2 seconds later, the next three came through.
Next three.
Like the whole race was just so close.
Literally, so close. Yep. Yeah, 3 seconds later, then we see Leclerc, Verstappen, and Norris so close together, which I love that. It makes it so exciting and entertaining. But yeah, so watched the podium, was like, great, cool, George Russell won, excellent, turned it off. And then in the morning, Peter was like, oh, did you see what happened with George? And I was like, yeah, he won.
He won.
And then he was like, look at your phone. I was like, oh my God.
Oh, no.
And Lucky Elle was in real time. She was sipping Aperols and watching it all unfold and posting on our Paddock Instagram everything in real time because Mr. George was disqualified.
Yeah, I mean, it just shows you like how unpredictable sport is.
So unpredictable.
But also,
so
like,
unpredictable.
I was like, it is the one time that George has a podium was won on his own merit. Like there was no safety car and it wasn't given to him.
Literally.
He put in the, like, not that he doesn't put in the hard yards, but this race, like he really put in the hard yards, took the strategy into his own hands and it paid off for him. And then for him to get disqualified because his car was underweight by 1.5 kilos.
1.5.
Which is quite a lot. Kilos. And then I have a conspiracy that I don't know if you saw when George had won the race and Toto was still sitting there like. I
saw. Yep.
Did you know the car was going to be underweight so you had no reaction? Is that why they just let him stay out there? Because they were like, well, let's just give him that elation and that feeling of winning because it's just going to be stripped away.
Yeah.
Because how can you miscalculate by that much? Like,
I know. I'm in the same boat as you when I remember very clearly when I was watching it and I was like, they panned to Toto Wolff and I was like, what is wrong with him? Like, why does he look so upset? Like, why is he not excited? He was just sitting there with like a scrunched up face. I'm like, what?
I was like, you just got 1-2.
And it just broke my heart as well because like looking at George after the race, you could tell he was exhausted. When he was on the podium, he was so excited. Like, we don't normally see the drivers like really drink a lot of the champagne. He was drinking so much of the champagne, also thinking like, yes, I've scored a win right before the summer break. Like, what a way to end the first start of the first half of the season.
And then it just got ripped away.
And it got ripped away. It got ripped away. And yeah, I agree with you. I think that Toto 100% knew. I think they knew, because how can they not know? It is like disappointing as well, because I think George did so well, and I still think he did so well. But then also I'm like, yeah, 1.5 kilos doesn't sound like a lot, but in the grand scheme of things, it's a lot.
Yeah,
And
it doesn't. It
will make
really
you
doesn't sound
go
like
faster. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like 1.5 kilos. Like, we lift more in the gym, and these are on.
Look,
Like, how
I lift
heavy
more
are these
with my
cars?
index finger.
And my you dude.
Like, yeah. So,
yeah,
it's such a
I
shame.
kind of
and then
wonder.
guess,
I'm like, who gets fired? Someone getting fired for making this miscalculation?
literally.
But then I was like, just before we started recording, I saw this article, and it was like Pirelli stating how it could have been so underweight, and then like there are a few theories on, because he did a one-stop strategy, 1.5 kilos over all 4 tires, could actually have contributed because of all the rubber that comes off the tires. And then I was listening to something else, and someone was saying that, you know how drivers kind of, when they do their victory lap, they sort of drive around the track, and, you know, they might go off the track a little bit, and they actually pick up rubber when they do that, which will add extra weight to the car. So like, it could be like, my theory, or like what I've read, is that it could have to do with how much rubber had come off the tires.
I think that's interesting.
It is interesting.
It is interesting, but then I also do think, this is something that's come up before. So how, like, there are many drivers that have had this before, where they do a one stop, and we've seen Lewis Hamilton win races before where he's literally like crawling to the finish line, where there's literally like rubber falling off his tires. So I don't know. I mean, I love that Pirelli maybe are like, no, we want George to win.
That's a good point. Yeah, Lewis basically won a race on 3 wheels.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah, so they should, and also like, I feel like their engineering is advanced enough where they can weigh the car without the weight of the tires.
Yeah, that's a good point. But anyway, poor George Russell.
Poor Georgie boy.
Yeah.
But into Red Bull racing.
Maxi boy, Max Verstappen qualified pole and then got bumped to 10th.
Isn't it funny, Ames, how last week's episode we were like, yeah, we think that Verstappen's going to win. And then both of you're like, completely literally we spoke about it 20 minutes prior, the fact that he was having a grid penalty.
Yeah.
And we're like, I was like, yeah, I also put him as my
yeah, I literally
winner.
Messaged you. I was like, oh my God, I totally forgot that Max has a 10 place grid penalty.
Yeah.
And we're both like, yeah, Max is going to win. I'm like, oh my God. Completely. Yeah. He obviously had a very strong qualifying session. It's just a shame as well, because obviously they had historically they are so good around that track. And they obviously have a lot of one lap speed, but when it came to race pace, they weren't as good. You know, Max was able to at least kind of claw his way up during the race a little bit.
I mean, not that
Sergio, on the other hand,
not that I wish this happened, but I know Max as well has Belgian roots, so it kind of does feel like a home race for him. But shame for him, because had he not had the 10 place grid penalty, then he would have won, and maybe he would have won by a country mile. But
going by
it worked out the way it was supposed to.
Going by qualifying in history, then Max would have won by. We wouldn't have had that close finish that we did. No. And I'm glad we had that close finish.
Me too.
Yeah.
But on
But
to
then Sergio
Checo.
Perez. Checo, I was impressed in qualifying.
Mm.
I was very impressed. You know, for once, he
For
got
him.
out of Q1 and finally got into Q3.
Yeah.
I was like, it is about time he did that. Yeah.
About time. It is pretty crazy when you look at the total drivers' points currently and just like how far he is. Like he's underneath, obviously underneath Max, underneath all the Ferraris, underneath all the McLarens, underneath all the Mercedes drivers, and then it's him. It's just like, how?
Yeah.
But at least finish 7th. Good job.
I mean, he definitely should have finished higher than 7th. I was quite upset. You know, you kind of sat there and you were just watching Max claw his way up, and then you were just watching Sergio fall down. Everyone was overtaking him, and he just couldn't maintain his pace, and it was kind of sad to see. Like his highest starting position since China. He started well and then just slowly dropped off.
Even like you mentioned before, it was so exciting seeing Oscar Piastri overtake him. Like,
Oh my God.
Go,
Some of the
Oscar.
moves Oscar did, once again, they were just phenomenal. I was like, good thing. Anyway.
Interstake, another not very exciting team at all. Pretty standard. Valtteri qualified 14th. Finished 15th. Zhou Guanyu qualified P20. Retired due to a hydraulic issue. Not much going on there at that stake team.
Lap 3. Like he couldn't even really get half the race done. But
no, at least his summer holidays started off early.
He's having a beer in the garage while the race is on.
I hope he did. He needs to. I really hope he did.
Oh, I agree. And to Visa Cash App Arbit. Then Daniel Ricciardo for the race. I feel like he did reasonably well.
Yeah,
finished 11th, then upgraded,
and then he got points.
Into the points. Got 1
that was very
point.
Yeah, that was very successful on our social media. We were like, but in other news, Daniel Ricciardo got a point. And everyone's like,
we love that.
Daniel Ricciardo
At least he got 1 point. Thank goodness.
About time he finally finishes ahead of Tsunoda.
Oh my God, I know. I mean, with everyone saying how good Yuki is right now, it would be tough for Daniel to mentally kind of prep himself every week. Yeah, just deal with it all. And then Yuki Tsunoda qualified P18, but then he had to start at the back of the grid due to engine penalty.
Yeah, similarly to Max Verstappen.
Yeah, but I mean, he only went back a couple of places instead of 10.
Yeah, 10. Yeah.
You can't go back any further.
No, you can't.
And he finished 16th in the race, so at least he climbed a couple of places.
Couple of spots. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and to round it off, our friends at Williams, because we have spoken about Williams today. This, Carlos, shall we talk about your future, what lies ahead of you?
Yeah, this is where you are going, Carlos. Yes, Alex Albon qualified P11, just missed out on Q3, but I feel like he showed decent pace in a Williams to just miss out on Q3, which is nice. But then in the race finished 12th. You know, consistent midfield performance and almost got some points.
Yeah.
Very close to points for Alex Albon. Would have been nice to add to their 4.
Repertoire. Yep.
Their 4 points. And then Logan Sargent, the man I feel so bad for. I saw an edit on TikTok before and it almost made me cry. And it was just like Logan Sargent.
I swear, sorry to interrupt, but I swear your algorithm is just like full of Logan Sargent like sob stories.
I think it is. It was really sad because it was all just like, I know, like a little violin, SpongeBob. It was like a whole compilation of different radio messages where you can just tell he is so enthusiastic and wanting to perform well, and he just isn't. I'm like, oh, his F1 career just has not worked out for him.
No, it has not,
and it's really sad. But yeah, Logan qualified P19. He struggled as per usual in that Williams. I mean, I would love to see what he would do in a different car.
Not much, probably.
No.
Sorry, I'm so savage. No, who knows? Maybe
17th, and I think he is looking to improve future races, considering he does not have many left.
No, he does not. He does not. But yeah, what about your driver of the day, Ames? Who's your driver of the day?
I'm actually going to say Oscar Piastri.
Yeah. Yep. Me.
I mean,
initially I was kind of like, oh, George Russell, but then I still think he drove incredibly, but I do think, like, is that attributed to the lighter car? But yeah, Oscar Piastri climbed from starting at 5th to 2nd. Amazing overtakes. Well done to you, Mr. Oscar. Can't wait to see you win again. Woo! Nicole, you should be proud of your son.
I love her.
Yeah, she's the best.
She's just the best. She's so good.
She's the best.
I'm just hoping, I don't know, what race do you think he might win next?
I don't know. Maybe Singapore. He'll have his family there. That would be nice.
Imagine if he wins like Monza or something.
Yeah, Monza. I was just thinking Monza.
That would be cool. Oscar wins Monza.
Although I'd love to see Carlos win Monza.
Yeah. Yes, actually, yes. Let's go with that. Let's start manifesting Carlos to win Monza.
Manifesting that. Yeah.
Please.
Manifesting Monza win, but no race next weekend because we have a 4-week summer break. Mandatory closure for 2 weeks for the teams, and it's their summer break, our winter break.
Yeah.
And then where are we next? We're in the Netherlands, Dutch Grand Prix on the 25th of August.
That seems so far away, but it's going to come around so fast.
It's going to come around so fast, and I think, I don't know, what are your predictions? I think hopefully we'll have all the seats filled by then.
I'm assuming we'll have all the seats filled. I am still annoyed that they announced Carlos already. I'm like, why couldn't you do that 2 weeks in, or at least a week in?
I know.
But at least now that Carlos has signed, it kind of put everything
solidifies.
Else in motion.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think so.
We'll see what else happens.
I think it'll put the wheels in motion.
Because, I mean, having Lewis signed to Ferrari at the beginning of the year, just threw a spanner in the works, because then everyone's like frazzled and didn't know what was going on. And
oh gosh, it feels like a lifetime ago. Like, I remember I was away at my friend's wedding that weekend and getting all the news whilst I was on the way to the wedding, like looking at my phone and then like reading stuff in between the ceremony and the reception.
Yeah.
But
oh my God.
Who knows? We'll see.
It was my birthday.
Yeah.
And I was in the back of the car drunk coming home from my birthday dinner, and I was like, what?
This isn't real. Yeah.
Like, hello?
This isn't real.
Like, what bullshit?
Yeah. But do you have any, I only ask this because I've got one. Do you have an F1 random moment of the week?
Random moment? I actually don't.
I've got, well, this is not a random moment. I just noted down that it was so nice seeing Günther Steiner commentating.
Oh, where was he?
He was commentating. He did like the post-race interview with all 3 drivers.
Oh,
so that was great. I was like, I recognize that voice, like like right after. And then this, I was going to say this a few weeks ago and I forgot to mention it, and it's got nothing to do with this week. It's just a random fact. But did you ever watch Malcolm in the Middle growing up?
Yes, we used to watch it every Monday night.
Right? I don't know, but yeah, it was so good. I did not know this, but Frankie Muntz, who's the main character, he stopped acting and got into NASCAR driving, and he's a NASCAR driver. Yeah. Apparently, and apparently the way he got into it, there was Yeah, there was a celebrity like race one day. Yeah, Amy automatically starts googling.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm googling.
there was a celebrity race.
Oh my
like
god!
Yeah, there was a celebrity NASCAR race one day, and he did really well. And there was a team that was like, "Oh, why don't you come back and just drive for us for one, like, you know, have a fun session, drive for us." He was like, "Yep, absolutely." Drove, got incredible race times that they were like, "We want to sign you on, like, for a year contract." Did incredible. Then he stopped for a little bit, had a bit of a hiatus, and then started again, and was like beating drivers that had been doing the sport for like tens of years. Isn't that crazy?
Oh my god, that's insane.
Yeah. Got into it like way later in life.
Wow, yeah, because he's 38 now.
Mm-hmm.
I also forgot as well, he was in Agent Cody Banks.
Yes, I loved that movie when I was a kid.
Oh my god, these like core memories unlocked.
Core memories. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, the little
That's
fun
so
fact. So not
fascinating.
necessarily F1, but in the motorsport world.
Still racing related.
Yeah, still racing.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
There you
But
go.
I think that's all we've got time for this week.
Yes. What a eventful weekend.
What an eventful weekend indeed. We'll be back next week, and Elle will be back too.
Well,
but thanks
have
for
a lovely
guys.
week, everyone.
Have a good week.
We will
we'll
see
be back
you
next week.
Next week.
Bye.
Bye.